A lot of people like that really, constantly concerned. But what they're doing is they are creating that reality for themselves. You cannot declare to the universe, I am broke, and expect the universe not to deliver that matching vibration so you can experience what you're asking for.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. Hello and welcome. You've landed on Zero Limits Living. Every week, I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. This show has become so popular so quickly, you can see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms across the galaxy, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Spotify, YouTube, and probably anything you can name or anything you're using right now. To make it easy, I'm putting all the shows in one place. Go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com and you can binge. You can also sign up to be notified whenever there's a new episode. ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. People always write and ask me about coaching. I started a miracles coaching program 20 years ago. Trademarked it, proved it worked. It's a system that has actually already been tested. Try it out for yourself. No charge, no obligation. Go to miraclescoaching.com. Also, check out my latest product, which is mentaltimetravelsystem.com. With a name like that, you have to go look. mentaltimetravelsystem.com. And if you've been watching or listening to the show, you know I'm an author of 90 some books. Yes, I'm impressed too. And the most recent book is called Unexpected Kindness. You can go to unexpectedkindnessbook.com. There's the audio version, paper version, hardcover version, Kindle version, just about anything you would want is there. Unexpected Kindness. Now, let's get to the matter at hand. I say that every week I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life. Well, this week you need to fashion your seatbelt because we're going into another dimension. There's a lot of ways that information can get to you, and sometimes the information is channeled. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to be learning about it today. Let me tell you about my guest. Cindy Edison is a conscious blended channel for a collective of teachers known as Josef, Josef. Josef speaks to us from the expanded vibrational consciousness of Seth and Abraham and represent the vibration of the new earth. Cindy Edison grew up in the Catskill Mountains of New York, raised Catholic. In 2003, her life came to a halt and everything she thought she understood changed. She began experiencing the unfolding that would lead her to meeting Josef in 2009. Through years of automatic writing conversations and many revelations, shifts, and changes, she began teaching Joseph's message of the evolution of the human aspect. As the human collective expands into the fourth and fifth dimensions, it begins consciously creating its next physical experience in the more expanded realms of consciousness by expanding its awareness of who it really is. Well, Cindy Edison, welcome.
Well, thank you. Wow, I want to meet her too.
Yes,
Sounds
well, we
so
all
what
do.
is
That's why I've got you here. Thank you for the kindness of saying yes. I
Oh, thank
appreciate that.
you. Thank you for having us.
Are you related in any way to Thomas Edison?
No,
No.
no, not at all, unfortunately.
Well,
Unfortunately.
he might have been a good one to channel too, since he was a
Yeah,
creative genius, so I'm
yeah,
told.
we
So
could
we
do
all
that.
understand. When I
Yeah.
talk to you, am I talking to you? Am I talking to Joseph, or am I talking to both of you, or who's actually present here?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Is that right?
So, yes.
I've
Um,
never heard the phrase blended. In your intro, I think it says blended channel. What is a blended channel? I know
yeah,
a conscious channel, you're conscious of what's going on.
yes.
What is a blended channel?
Well, we are exampling actually the uh, uh, experience of the new human aspect that we are co-creating with our
Mhm.
souls and with the universe, and that aspect will live on the new earth. And it is a blended aspect, meaning that we are consciously focused from our soul's perspective, our soul vibration of us.
Mhm.
So we are moving, over the years, you can see how channeling itself has changed. Esther is the perfect example of that. When she began channeling, she had her eyes closed and she went into a trance and her voice changed. And
Yeah.
now she just simply focuses. So, which is what I do, which is what Joseph told me from the beginning. All you have to do is focus, because when I started hearing them, and started translating the vibration. We all do it every day. Um, I kept looking to other channels and trying to be like them. And Joseph
Mm.
kept saying, "You're not them. You're not them. Everyone is unique, and we are exempling the blended vibration." So what that means really is that I am able to, and we all are able to do this just
Mm.
by consciously. I am able
Mm.
to shift my focus back and forth from my third dimensional aspect
Mhm.
to my soul's vibration. So when we have these conversations, it's Joseph. It's my dominant vibration. The dominant information coming through is from Joseph, is from my soul.
This is fascinating. Well, you mentioned a couple of names that I certainly know, and one I know personally, but other people may not. So going to Seth, Seth was the beginning for me with Jane Roberts and those books.
Yeah,
And Esther and Jerry, they were friends of mine and clients of mine way back in the 90s, and I miss them both. Esther, of course, is still around. Jerry has passed on.
yeah.
How do you differ in what you're channeling? Because part of your bio says you're kind of bringing in Seth and Abraham at the same time. Is there a difference? Is Joseph a combo package of Seth and Abraham and more?
Well, how it is explained to me, how it was explained from Joseph in the beginning to me,
Hmm.
was that as the consciousness, of course, everything expands. So the consciousness has been expanding eternally, really. And so the message, everything that's held within that consciousness expands. So when Seth was the beginning for me too. So when Seth began with "you create your own reality,"
Hmm.
and then Esther took over when
Hmm.
Jane passed. Esther came in, and Abraham is an expansive, the way I understand it,
Ah.
Abraham is an expansive vibrational perspective, the
Hmm.
consciousness of Seth. And so Abraham takes it to another level. It is expanded. So Esther expanded on the Seth message
Hmm.
exponentially. I mean, huge.
Yeah.
And so now Joseph comes in, and many others are. There are many teaching from this consciousness. So we are focused on, we expand their message of creating your own reality and many other things. And we bring in the vibrational component to the degree that we can understand the new earth vibration. This is our really the fourth and fifth dimensions, which are really only labels, the numbers, of
Hmm.
course, is the next step for us as the human aspect. We've not experienced this step before. We've shifted many, 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 many times our
Hmm.
consciousness, but always in the third dimension. So now we're stepping into a place where there's no fear, and our awareness has expanded to the degree that we can consciously choose. We know the power of our creation, of what we hold within us.
Hmm.
And so now we deliberately and consciously choose to create understanding vibration.
This
So
is
that's
all fascinating and lends itself to be confusing too,
it can
because
be.
I have enough trouble managing 3D reality, and then I hear about okay, there's a fourth dimension. Oh yeah, wait a minute, there's a fifth dimension, and I interviewed somebody a week ago, and he said there's a sixth dimension, and it's
There's
like
many.
layers of madness is
Yeah.
what it seems like sometimes. So I want to get clarity as we talk, but I want to hear a little bit more about your story so everybody gets to
Yeah.
know you a little bit. In the intro, we talked about your life came to a halt in 2003, was it? What exactly took place that caused this shift?
Just hit a brick wall. Everything,
Mm,
like, really within a week's period, everything came to an end.
mm,
Got divorced,
oh,
lost my job. Well, we had a business together, so that kind of was sold, and had no job, had really no friends.
mm,
The whole thing just crashed. Everything crashed. It was an experience that I'd never had anything like before. I mean, I was always flying by the seat of my pants, but it never occurred to me that something like that could happen. And I found myself, I was living in Birmingham at the time and in a loft, and I found myself lying on the floor, on my hardwood floor for like 2 weeks, just in the
mm,
fetal position, just crying. I had no
oh,
idea what to do. And I was contemplating getting out of here.
yeah.
I didn't see an out. I really didn't see an out.
Mhm,
And I remember from that time, I remember looking up and really screaming in my tears and bawling, "You forgot about me."
mm,
And then things started to change. They really took me through Christianity. Raised Catholic, I knew nothing about the Bible. I was in fear of God, all of
mhm,
that stuff,
mhm,
and I was just mad then. And so they started me with Christianity for 3 years, took me in and then took me out. Which was an interesting journey in itself. But so many things happened then, and everything just changed. So many events that took place to get me to the place where I was. But it was a learning journey. I say learning, they say discoveries in me. It was just a journey of discovery, really,
mm,
of
mhm.
who I am, who I was then, and who I'm turning into.
Is that where Joseph kind of raised, I don't know how to say his, her, they hand.
Yeah, yeah, their hand.
I'm not sure which way to express this, but you know what I mean. Is that when the voice, the feeling, the information starts coming?
No,
Oh, no.
actually, that didn't happen until 2009.
Oh, interesting.
2009,
I
yeah.
see. I
It was
see.
the whole Christianity thing, and I read the Bible 3 times
Oh, wow.
in 2003, that all started, and then I was in advertising, and then I sat down to write an article in 2009, on my laptop, and I was just sitting there thinking, and all of a sudden, I just started typing, and it started with "Dear Cindy," and it was a 9-page letter about me, and it's
Mhm,
all, like, jumbled. When I go back and read it now, it's weird, but over the years, they told me, you've got this mission, this task, and we'll be delivering a message. They brought me to the Abraham material and probably 15, maybe 16. I don't really remember. Had no idea who they were. I wasn't really into that whole thing. It was just a shift.
mm,
And within a week's period, it seemed like every place I looked, I was listening to Hay House Radio every day at work and never saw anything about them. Then all of a sudden, that's all I saw.
mm,
And finally, I said, "Okay, okay." And I pulled up the show one day, and within 5 minutes, I knew there was something there. Followed her, read all the books, went to the workshops, and just fell in love. I just understood it immediately. Um, and then about, I don't know, months, a year, I don't remember.
mhm,
I was chatting with them because in 2009, those conversations started taking place every night on my laptop. Who are you? What do you want? What is this? And they were teaching me.
yeah.
And finally, in one evening, after I had been familiar with Abraham, um, they said they were Abraham. They identified themselves. Up to that point, they had not answered my question. The answer to my question, "Who are you?" was, "We are you."
Yeah.
And never really understood that, kept asking. And then finally they said, "We are Abraham." And I laughed out loud. I said, "You got to be kidding me. This is crazy," and I argued with them. But they
Oh,
sounded like it. It felt like it. Um, and then that went on for about a year, and I was very comfortable with it. And they told me about Esther and what would be happening with her and all this stuff. And then I had a session with Paul Selig
oh,
and
mhm,
early 2017, and he said to me during our conversation, he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, this is, I'm talking to Abraham." And he said, "I don't think that's the way it works. Abraham belongs to Esther." And I got this pit in my stomach.
Uh,
And I was like, "Oh crap, what's going on here?" And so I went home and I typed in what gives. And they said, they told me about how channels work,
mhm,
on the general scale, and then they said, "We are Abraham, and we will reveal more and our name to you at the right time." So then I went, "Okay, there's something unfolding here." A couple days later, I was sitting outside just enjoying the day, and I see this vision. And it was a propeller plane, clear as day, right in front of me. A propeller plane with the banners, the ones that fly over the beach.
mhm,
And they had three banners attached to it, and it slowly went in front of me. And the first banner said Seth, the second banner said Abraham, and the third
uh,
banner was blank. And they said, "That's us." And then I understood, and they said, "We'll reveal our name." A month later, I went and wrote the first book, and they uh, revealed their name as Joseph at the beginning welcome letter. So that's how it all unfolded in a
that's
nutshell.
that is a wonderful story, and I got chills as I was listening to you,
Yeah.
and it was a great image. I can see the plane and the
Yeah.
3 messages there. When you were first getting this material, like you said you were typing
Mm.
and, you were having this interaction, how did you know it was separate from you? I understand on one level it is you,
Yeah.
because you're typing and receiving, it's all coming out of you, but how do you know that there's something that's distinctly different than you that is
Because
giving
you
you this.
feel it. I felt it. I felt I felt my vibration shift when I'm talking,
Mm,
like right now.
yeah.
I hold my hands like this. It
Mhm,
just happened one day, and I do it automatically now, and it's almost like I feel them now more intensely than I normally do,
mm,
because I'm so focused on this with you.
mhm,
And there is like a current running through me that I can feel, a vibration that I can feel within me. It
mhm,
took some time to understand that when they began, because that was my question. I fought it the whole time, what? I don't understand.
yeah,
But I would go back and read what they were telling me. And I said, I couldn't make this up. I mean, it was just beautiful. You feel the love. It feels like love.
mm,
It feels like love. On one interview I did, some guy said, "Well, she's not a channel because I'm not a normal channel, or what you guys would consider normal." And he said, "She's just a really smart lady." And I started laughing. And I said, that was in the comments. And I said, "Well, I wish I were that smart,
mm,
that I could just come up with that." But yeah, it's a feeling, it's a discovery of who we
mm.
are, who we really are. And every single one of us has the ability to do it.
This is fascinating. I mentioned I've known Jerry and Esther, and I was
Yeah.
at their place. This is back in the 90s. And I asked Jerry, I said, how do you explain Abraham coming through Esther to the average person who has no experience with Seth or channeling or ESP or psychic phenomena or any of that consciousness expanding stuff that you probably eat for breakfast like I do? And he said, I tell the average person, Abraham is a different part of her brain. And it was his way of being able to comfortably and getting an acceptance from the other person that this was information. It's still coming from Esther, it's just coming from a different part of her brain. Do
Yeah.
you feel that it comes from a different part of your brain, or do you feel that it's coming through a different part of your brain from this expanded consciousness that we're all can tap into?
Well, the way I understand it, the way they have uh, taught me, I feel it. We talk about vibration incessantly.
Yeah.
It's so important right now.
Mm,
So what they explained to me was that, in simple terms, that we have, in essence, two parts of our vibration. We don't talk about the brain, we talk about the vibration of the aspect.
mm,
So we have a third dimensional part of our consciousness that is really based in the contrast. It's based in whatever realm we're in. Okay. So we're in the contrast now. So that vibration is made up of our beliefs, our understandings, the teachings we have accumulated, adopted, accommodated, just chosen, you know, for no reason, handed
Mhm,
down from our
mhm,
parents or whatever.
mhm,
And they're
mhm.
all in contrast. They're out of alignment, what we would say out of alignment, which is why we have the chaos in the world we have now, because they're out of alignment with the vibration of who we are. That's our physical vibration. When we kick off and leave here, that vibration remains in the vibrational timeline where there is vibrational agreement for it. So,
Interesting.
and the soul of us, the vibration of our soul that we always are, the pure love consciousness we take with us. That's what we take with us when we go, is the expanded love vibration.
Mm,
So I understand. So that's, I guess that's maybe why they explained it to me that way. It's easier for me to shift my focus from
mhm.
my 3D aspect to my 5D aspect, for lack of a better term.
Right.
So it's vibration.
Well, that's a key word I know, not just for Joseph, but vibration was in the movie, The Secret, where we talked about the law of attraction. People hear all the time about watching their vibration, raising their vibration,
Yeah.
aiming their vibration. I don't know that we all understand what that means.
We
I
don't.
does Joseph have a simple definition or something we can hang our hat on? Something that's more street level and the average person with a 6th grade education can really understand and use it? What is vibration? How do we control that?
Well, I can tell you that we say that vibration is really a manifestation, a physical manifestation of the energy that we are. So that's why we feel it. So being in
Mhm,
the physical world, we feel, that's how we make our way through. But we're not talking about goo goo gaga feelings. We're talking about first emotional. So you can
mm,
tell if you're in or out of alignment by the emotional response you have to the thoughts that you are choosing.
mm,
So, for instance, if you are thinking about the chaos in the world, thinking about, an out of alignment, I don't know how else to say, an out of alignment situation you're looking at, whatever it is,
mhm,
I don't even like to think about them, but
mhm,
so,
mhm,
anger, resentment, jealousy, anything that's not love is an out of alignment emotion. And that emotion is a manifestation of an out of alignment vibration, which is the dominant collective vibration of the human collective. This is
mm,
why we have the chaos in the world right now, because the dominant vibration always rules. So when you are creating, and you are in every moment, your reality, if you are creating from an out of alignment vibration, you're asking the universe to bring in what you're focused on so
mm,
you can experience the manifestation in your physical reality. And if
mm.
you are focused out of alignment, you are creating an out of alignment experience that you're not going to like.
Yeah.
So, this is what we're doing. We're shifting. So, the first thing is to recognize your emotions. What am I feeling? If you're feeling love and joy and peace and adventure, excitement, that that is a manifestation of an in alignment vibration. That's the vibration of your soul giving
Mm.
you a high five.
Yeah.
Your focus is in alignment.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Well, that makes a whole lot of sense, and I think for most people, we have no clue, or they have no clue, that they're actually creating from that vibration, and the vibration is because of the emotions, and the emotions is because of what they're focusing on. And as you mentioned, if they're focusing on anger or resentment or bitterness or hate, then
Yeah.
that is the vibe that is going out there, and that's what they're actually going to create. I think what I need to ask next is, how do you change it to control it to get what you want? I talk a lot about money. So we can look at that for a moment. You can pick any subject, relationships, health, whatever. But if
Yeah.
somebody's sitting and they're watching you and me, or they're listening to us and they're going, I'm broke. I'm broke and I'm worried about the economy and who's going to be the next president. What's going to happen to the world? And will there be COVID again? Is it all going to collapse? Their vibe is not love.
No, it's not.
How do they get to love from that vibe?
Well, it's a difficult position to shift
Yeah,
from. As Esther always says, you can't get there from there. You
right.
can't get there from there. You've got to start. So she calls it the emotional scale, the emotional guidance system, and
Hmm.
it's really paying attention to your emotions. So this guy that's sitting there, saying, "I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. What's going to happen?" I know a lot of people like that, really, constantly concerned. But
Hmm.
what they're doing is they are creating that reality for themselves. You cannot declare to the universe, "I am broke," and expect the
That will.
universe not to deliver that matching vibration so you can experience what you're asking for,
Yeah. How
you
do we
know?
prove that? How do we prove that? And I don't mean to be a devil's advocate because I'm with you. I in
Yeah.
agreement with here. But I also know that I would just say the vast majority of the world is just going to say that's all hogwash. That's all
Yeah, they do.
BS. I'm broke,
Yeah.
and it's not because I'm thinking I'm broke. I'm broke because I'm broke. That's what they would say.
Yeah.
How do we create the opportunity for an awakening so that they go, oh, it's because of my vibe. Somehow they realize the connection. How do we get there to
Well,
teach that?
yeah, we would say in our message, as vast as it is, and it's big, we're shifting, total consciousness, something we haven't done yet. But
Mm,
our message is really foundationed in the universal truths, what we call the universal truths, universal
mhm,
laws. So
mhm,
it's not an opinion, and it's not something that we you and I, we know we don't
mhm.
have to prove it because we understand the law of the
Mhm.
universe. You, of all people, understand the law of attraction. And so I would say that, to begin to understand who you are as an energetic being, first they have to believe that, because if you don't believe that, then nothing we can say, nothing anybody can say can help them,
Yeah,
but all you have to do, I think, for proof is look at your circumstances and look at what you are creating. Now, a lot of people who are in that position don't believe they create their own
right,
reality. So that's
right,
another step, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm also curious about. How do we help them realize they're creating their own reality? Because I think you want to help people. I want to help people. Joseph is working through you to help people. So
Yeah.
how do we help them if we're talking to somebody who feels like this is my fate? This is my DNA. This is my, God made me this way and God made it this way. How do I change it when it's in somebody else's hands, whether that's a God figure or
Yeah.
nature or fate or whatever they would attribute it to?
Yeah. Well, I think the fact is that we can't
Mm.
create in someone else's experience.
That's a
Um,
that's a biggie because a whole lot of people do try to create in someone else's
yeah.
experience, including me.
Yeah. They don't.
I'm always looking,
Well,
is there a loophole? Is there a
Well,
uh,
you give the information,
yeah,
the only thing we can do is give the information
yeah,
and live it. We say all the time, live it, live it, live it. I've got clients that say, "You're not saying anything to me I haven't heard for 30 years, and I'm still this. I've read 400
yeah,
books. I'm still this." And I said, "But you haven't put it into practice.
yeah,
You haven't understood it to the point where
mm,
you're actually doing it. You actually have to do it."
yeah,
And a lot of people, I have friends too that just say, "That's hard, that's too hard, I'm not going to do it." And I said, "Well, that's your choice, and you
mm,
don't have to do it if you don't want to, but just know that you can tell what your dominant creative vibration is by what you are experiencing. You can't create an in alignment experience from an out of alignment position. It's
yeah,
impossible because there's no vibrational agreement between the two. So, so many things have to do with it. And it's not only, let's get bigger, it's not only this lifetime, the vibration that we have in this lifetime, it's all of the physical experiences we've had as we've journeyed through this entire dimension
yes,
is part of our physical vibration. So we
mm,
carry these out of alignment beliefs and we keep choosing them and choosing them. And our religious teachings, I'm going to stay in this 50-year abusive relationship because God told me to. Well, God would never tell you to do,
right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying? So,
yes,
so the beliefs, we teach that the belief system must be changed. And
mm,
it's not to go back and unlearn because everything is perfect. Everything that manifests from emotions to a car, everything that manifests is perfect because it is created by way of vibrational agreement, which is universal.
Yeah.
And, if you say, I don't like what I'm creating, well, you have to look at your vibration to see what you're asking for. Asking it is given is pretty
Yeah.
true.
And repeated throughout scripture and
Yeah,
spiritual literature, asking it is
yeah,
given. I think it's interesting that people would tell you that, oh, that's too hard, meaning changing their vibration is too hard. Because I thought, well, what's the alternative? You want to continue suffering, continue
exactly.
being broke? Isn't that hard?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's
And I
exactly
would, this is, well, that could be a form of self sabotage that is say, well, it's too hard. Well, that's a flimsy excuse because you're
it is.
suffering.
Yeah.
And by choosing to be more enlightened about all of this and choosing your vibration, your emotion, your beliefs, you can actually step out of that suffering. So
Yes.
I just find that that's curious. I know that one of the things I love, and this is how I discovered Joseph, were the messages that you post on Instagram.
Yeah.
I discovered them, I think, a couple years ago,
Mhm.
and I started liking them and loving them and relishing them and redoing them in my head because I thought, "Boy, that was really well said." Do they just come to you, there it
Yeah.
is, and you write it down and you post it?
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
Post it?
Yeah. I could be in a conversation. I do this a lot. I'm in a conversation with them and I'm typing, I'm listening, we're having a talk, and they'll
Yeah.
say something and I go, hold it. And I and I go to my other program and I make the post right in the middle of the conversation.
Wow.
And
Wow.
because they're profound,
They
and they're
are.
simple. Yeah. They're
There
so
was
they're so good.
They are good. There was one yesterday or the day before that was about karma. And karma, I always lean forward because people use karma as an excuse not to do things.
Right.
They'll say it's my karma. And I
Yeah.
remember Yogananda, one of my favorite teachers, who said, it's spiritual laziness to
Exactly.
blame what's going on karma. He says,
Yeah.
do the work. And I saw that Joseph had said karma was, I didn't write it down. You probably remember it was a repeated vibrational pattern,
Yes. Yes.
which also suggests that you were in control of it because you can't say you're a victim to karma if you can change your vibrational pattern and
Yes.
get a different result.
Yes.
And so this
Absolutely.
is why I'm loving, and I went and bought all books. I think you have
Oh,
4 books,
thank
are
you.
there?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
went and bought all the books, so I'm
Oh,
a
thank you. I
fan,
would
and
have
I
sent
couldn't.
them to you.
Oh, I didn't know you at the time, and I didn't reach out at the time. I was just, I've always been a seeker, and what I'm seeking is whatever the next evolutionary step is for me, but also the ways that I can help others.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Epicurus who said, if philosophy doesn't relieve some suffering, then what's the point of it? A-
Exactly.
And I find that Joseph is doing that. So
Yeah.
I also know you do personal sessions with
Mm.
people because I saw it on the website. And I'm curious to know what are some unusual questions that you get from people? Or are they all on the same subject? Health, wealth, relationships,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
spirituality?
Yes. Yes. I think we probably, in the beginning of the sessions, I would say people are disappointed for about 30 seconds
Huh.
because still people come and say, what's my next step? What am I going to be doing?
Oh, they're
What,
looking for
and when am I going
prediction.
to meet this guy? That's not what we do.
Wow.
We teach how to discover how to get what you want, and how to create a new reality for yourself, whatever that is. Because first of all, when you are told what is coming next, it's a probability because everybody has choice, right? So, and it limits the person asking. So if I were to say, Joe, then you're going to be approached to do a brand new TV show in 2 weeks, then you're focused on that. And if it
Right.
doesn't happen, you say, well, this is all crap.
Right.
This is, so we like for people to discover on their own. So we set them on the path,
Mhm.
and we say, this is your path. If you want to, it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't, you can, as Esther says, you can have or do or be anything because on your eternal path, on any path, the choice is always yours. But when you're creating from love, we can talk about money for a minute. When you're
Yes.
creating from the in alignment position, you are creating from the most powerful source in the universe, which is love, of course. And on that path, that is your soul's eternal path. It is paved with love. And everything you create from that position of alignment, you cannot create again an out of alignment experience from
Yeah.
that position either. So everything you create, so we encourage everybody to focus on your own alignment, focus on your own alignment. The
Mhm.
doors will open. Put a desire out there, any desire you have that is created, conjured in, and and fostered. You're creating momentum when you're on that path. You're always creating a pathway.
Mm.
Choose a vibration that you're going to like, because there's no judgment. It's just different experiences.
So what I'm hearing is it sounds like the very first step, if I was going to turn this into a formula, was the vibration of love. I'm oversimplifying it, but is that
Yes.
like that's the mission? That's the key. That's the very first step. Forget anything else, at least in this moment, and
Yeah.
focus on love.
Love, 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 love. Shift your focus, shift your focus. And what happens is, the fourth dimension, our next step is really when we have um, gotten to the point of awareness where your physical vibration, your entire blended physical vibration is dominant in your soul vibration. So when we come
Mm,
into a new realm, I'll make this short. When we come
mhm,
into a new realm of consciousness, because this is not the only one we've been in, where we've been in unlimited. So we dive into the third dimension of contrast. We have no idea who we really are, which is the whole point of coming here, right? To discover a different aspect.
mm.
And so we come in, we know nothing. So we're creating from maybe 99% of contrast and 1% love. We
Yeah.
die, we come back. We die, we come back thousands of times. And we go from 99-1 to 85-15 to 80-20 to 75-25 as we move through the realm of consciousness and all the vibrational timelines that we are evolving through. And here we stand at 50-50. 50-50. Now we're
Yeah.
aware that we are creators. We are aware, or we have the capacity to be aware. Some people are rejecting it. It's too hard.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm,
going to do that now. I'm used to feeling this way. So I'm just going to sit here. Okay. So as soon as you get to 51-49, you are on the downhill slide. So we call the fourth dimension the bridge. Will be 100% soul perspective in the new earth, because the new earth, there is no fear vibration. There's no contrast at all. So
yeah.
we are creating from pure love all the time, no resistance, no anything. So we take this little trip over the bridge while we're shifting consciously, shifting our vibration to be dominant in
Mhm,
love, and we
mm.
create from that space. That means we experience joy and love, excitement, passion, adventure, all those wonderful things. And every manifestation from that vibration must be of that vibration. It's
So
law.
the very first step is love, and all of this feeling of love that you're talking about right now, and then out of that feeling of love, we can create or manifest a desire. Where do the desires come from? There's a whole school out there that says desires are bad, and of course I disagree with them because you don't get out of bed unless you have a desire to get out of bed, and you don't go to the bathroom unless there's a desire. It goes on and on. So
Yeah.
desire is inherent. So,
Yes.
but does Joseph have any guidelines on that? It's like if the person wakes up, they're in this feeling of love, and they go, you know what? I want to go buy, I don't know, a new car and a fur coat and a bottle of wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good for you.
is there any are there any guidelines to the manifestation, or is it truly out of the feeling of love? Anything goes, whatever your desire is. And of course, I'm making up something, but
Yeah.
whatever the desire is, it's going to be manifested based on that feeling of love as the base.
Yes. That's right. Because that's a vibrational component. is the love, joy, peace. It's all the same vibration. So the desire comes from our soul, which always
Mm,
desires to evolve. So
yeah.
every aspect of the soul, and there are unlimited aspects of the soul, desires to expand, and we expand through love. We expand through joy
Mm,
and peace and
mhm.
excitement. So if you have a desire to buy a new car, I always have a desire to buy a new car. I'm constantly looking at because it's fun. And
That's
that's
right.
the desire, to have fun,
I see.
have
Uh,
fun, to experience joy in whatever way,
yeah.
you
But what
know?
if somebody has a mission? Like a part of my mission, I started a movement to end homelessness
Uh,
many years ago because I had been homeless and I left a sting. So I had this whole thing about, yes, it's why, yes, your economic salvation. So there's the desire to build it, but I don't know that maybe Joseph can help me with this. So out of love, I want to heal myself from the homelessness. I want to heal other people who still go through homelessness. So there's the base of love there. But I don't know that it's a feel good feeling from that point. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
Not
not
really.
like, okay,
So you
good.
have to get, okay, so you have to get, what is the intention?
The intention is to relieve the suffering.
Is to relieve suffering.
Yeah. Relieve the suffering of the people that are still struggling with homelessness, who went through the loss of their home, the loss of their job, COVID, the health
Yeah,
insurance,
everything.
but they're suffering
Yeah,
in some way.
yeah,
I'm a car guy, so I can get real excited about a car. And I just
yeah.
had my 70th birthday, and I went and I've ordered a Bentley to be made for me. And
Wow,
this is like a
that's
guy who was
exciting.
homeless is doing this. So there's a different feeling when it comes to talking about the car and the Bentley and this creation and 70 years than there is about ending homelessness.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there a little guilt in that desire?
For the homelessness, uh,
A little
guilt.
guilt in, I used to be homeless and now I'm ordering a Bentley. Is that fair? I mean, I'm not
No,
saying that it's,
yeah, I understand you're probing there a little bit, which is a good therapeutic thing to do. I don't think so. I don't think
yeah, it
so. I
shouldn't be.
think if there is a thing that waters down the vibration about ending homelessness, first of all, it is I don't know how. Second of all, it is I have made contributions over the years to different sources and companies and resources that said they made a difference in homelessness. I can't say that they actually did.
Yeah,
So there's that sense of disappointment that kind of makes me, maybe this is the point, it makes me pull back. It
right.
makes me pull back. Like, first, I don't really know how to end homelessness. I'm putting the idea out there because I think it's the time has come for that. The second thing is the disappointment from the times I did try to at least alleviate it. So in this conversation, you can see that my energy already dropped. It dropped from Bentley off the charts to, oh, I'm disappointed trying to help people
Yeah.
with these
Well,
different things.
the disappointment, of course, is out of alignment.
Yes, I feel it.
Understandable,
I feel it.
but
Yes.
but it's out of alignment,
Mhm,
because when you gave from the position of alignment.
mhm,
So that needs to carry through to the manifestation for you, for
mhm,
you. Once I heard Esther, again, I'm sorry. I heard Esther talking one time about um, Jerry saying that he didn't want to pay taxes because he didn't like what they were doing with it.
I remember that. Yes.
And remember what Abraham said to him?
As I remember, it was something about writing thank you on the check and personally deciding how he thought they were going to use
Yes,
it. Is that what it
yes,
was? Yeah.
yes. And this is what Joseph is saying right now, that
Mm,
you're to shift that perspective within you,
mhm.
that, I'm giving out of love. And I know that someone will benefit from this, someone. So there's
I'm taking that
always,
in. Yeah.
there's always that you can get down to the heart of it, because first of all, you don't need to know how. That's another thing about walking on the eternal path,
Mhm.
right? You know this. You don't need to know how to do it. You just need to desire to do it by loving the homeless people and exampling for the homeless people. And I'm sure you have given more than money, but books and information and opportunity and all of this stuff, it all goes in together. But you can't help the entire world. You help the entire world just through your vibration of love that you emit. That expands the entire universe, So
this is very helpful to me. So thank
I
you,
hope so. I
slash
hope so.
Joseph.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
When
Because
people, the number one question I get from people that have seen the movie The Secret or read a Law of Attraction book or saw me
yeah,
somewhere is, and I'm sure you've heard this, hey, how do I win the lottery?
yeah.
What is Joseph's pat answer for that? Or is there something
It's
unique?
the same as any manifestation. You have to believe it, first of
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You have to believe it to the core. It's a knowing. It's not even a belief. It's a knowing that whatever you desire. Now, people don't want, Esther's so good when she says, you only want something because you think you'll feel better in the
Right.
having of it, right? So instead of maybe saying, how do I win the lottery? First of all, the how is not the question. It's what is the desire? The desire is for me and for you, for anyone really. The bottom line desire is to be free, is to live in freedom. And money, people think money has a good stigma and a bad. If you don't have any, you think it's impossible to get it. Because we're efforting, and we're saying focus, focus, focus. So it's not about winning the lottery. The intention really is to live free, is to be out from underneath the third dimensional governmental red tape, all the things you have to do, I have to do, So we would suggest to play the lottery because it's fun and it could be exciting. But it's an opportunity. It's a probability that could be a possibility, that could be a manifestation, but it could all don't turn away from other opportunities. When we focus on one thing, it's the same thing with Joe, you got a TV show coming in 2 weeks and you're like this, and all the other, all the other opportunities are put by the wayside.
Right. Right.
Opportunities are unlimited,
That's excellent. I'm curious, how has your life blossomed since knowing Joseph? Because you went back and you told us, and thank you for being so open and
Yeah.
transparent about being on the floor and crying and going through everything that you went through for a very long time.
Long
How
time.
has your life blossomed being on the inside with the with the wisdom right in your ear,
Well, I'll
coming
tell
in
you,
direct?
um,
There's a big
excuse me.
smile, which tells me a lot right there. You're beaming. You're
Well,
beaming.
I'm laughing because they're laughing because it's been a struggle. It has, for
Mm,
me, the third dimensional aspect, it has been a struggle, less and less and less and less, coming up through this and not doing it like everybody else
mm.
and being criticized because I'm not like everybody else. It
Oh,
took me time um, to really understand, and a lot of patience from them, to really understand that the uniqueness of this is what we are teaching. We are teaching the uniqueness. So what
yeah.
has happened is, as I'm shifting my physical vibration, I live what I consider a very abundant life.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
don't want for anything, but that's not because I am wealthy. It's because of my mindset. And Bashar has, I think, a wonderful uh, description of abundance. And Bashar says that you always have what you need when you need it.
Yeah.
And one of the first things 20 years ago that Joseph said to me at the beginning of all of this is, you will always have what you need. And I have always, regardless of any circumstances, I have always had what I need, always. And that is a knowing within me. So I live in a peaceful place. However, I don't anymore. I don't have a lot of friends, a couple, I would say.
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
don't understand, and it kind of scares them a little bit. They don't get it. So I'm alone a lot, which is fine with me now because I'm always hanging out with Joseph,
Right.
and I really revel in the peace of that. But it's a total change for me. I don't really go out. I don't party anymore. I used to be a fun party girl, but I'm not
Mhm.
that anymore. I have no desire for that. So I'm very I would say introverted at this point in my life, except for interviews and clients. I meet some wonderful, people that are on the same vibrational level, and that's my outlet now, you know.
That's
So,
beautiful. That's
um,
beautiful. Well, like I said, you're smiling and you're beaming and you're very bright. So,
thank
something's
you.
working there for you
Yeah,
and you seem happy.
I am.
Going back to the people who come to you, did I give you a chance to say what some common questions are or common concerns? Because people that are watching or listening might relate to that, and there might be a solution that Joseph offers to give some illumination.
Again, most of it is, what is my next step? I
Yeah.
feel like something's changing.
Yeah.
That's what they say. And so
Mhm.
we always recommend to conjure a new belief system. And Joseph gives us a process for that, to
Ah,
conjure a new belief system from the new vibration. We
we
have
should
to,
stop right there. How do
okay,
you
okay.
before we run out of time here, I gotta squeeze that in because that is too juicy
Oh,
to
it's
just leave
it's
on the table. Can you give me the condensed version and point us in the direction of how do we download a new belief system? Is it in one of the books? Is it on a YouTube video that you have out there, or can you just tell us right
it might be. I don't remember what's on the YouTube right now, but I have a
now? Okay.
list of stuff to do and it's on there. But basically, it is what they said to me was, um, we're going to make up this new belief system that is in alignment with where you're going.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, how do I do that? And they said, draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper. Anybody can do this. Do this, people. Um, and on the left-hand column, entitle it My Current Beliefs. And they're all out of alignment, but they are beliefs that we've carried with us for eons. On the right-hand column is your soul's perspective of those beliefs. So I started doing the list, and I was bawling by the end of it because it hurt so bad, because I was experiencing the emotions from those out of alignment beliefs,
Ah.
some of them very difficult to write down. On
Mhm.
the right-hand side, and at the end of it, I looked up and I said, this is not who I am. And they said, this is the system you have been creating from. It is dominantly out of alignment. This is the third dimensional aspect belief system. And then they said, now we're going to write the right-hand column. My first belief, my out of alignment belief, difficult for me to write at that time, was, I am not worthy of this task with you.
Mm,
And I'm going to cry. And their belief was, there is no one more worthy than you.
mm,
And I started crying. And as we went down that right hand list, I'm crying again at the end of the list, because now I'm feeling all of the overwhelming love emotions that the in alignment beliefs conjure and
mhm,
manifest.
mhm, mhm.
And then I stood back, and they said, the left hand column is your third dimensional belief system. You've done a wonderful job, and we're
Yeah.
so proud of you.
Oh,
And now this new belief system is in alignment, and it is the belief system of the new aspect of you,
mm.
who you will experience on the new earth as you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
If somebody's
beautiful.
watching or listening to us and they get the gist of that and they're going to write down the beliefs from the third dimension, which are going to come to them fairly easy when they think about it.
Yeah,
I'm not worthy. There isn't enough money. There, all the good
right.
people are taken through
Yes.
relationships. Those are pretty easy. How, to me, they do seem that way. How do they create the new belief system? Do they just invoke the opposite of what they wrote? I'm not worthy.
No,
Becomes I
well,
am worthy.
yeah, we always encourage, this is a great opportunity to get in touch with your soul. Go
Mm,
inside
mm.
and intend to hear. And it will take some time for some will hear it right away. A belief has to shift for that you are. This is the expanded you're talking to. And you can go on the website. There is a free download on the
Ah,
seven
good.
steps, seven
Mhm.
steps of self-discovery and healing. They are based on the universal truths, and they will help you write that. In the
Beautiful.
first or second book, I don't remember actually, or you can send me an email. I'll send you a copy of the soul's perspective. That it is a list, a short list, really, of statements that are in alignment. From the soul's perspective, there is no lack.
Uh,
From the soul's perspective, there is no illness. So these are vibrationally in alignment with the soul's perspective, and you can build a new belief system. If you can't connect yet, you can build a new belief system from those components.
that's
Conjure it.
wonderful. That
Believe whatever you want. What does Esther say? A belief is just a thought you keep on
I'm
thinking.
thinking, right. And your website is the teachings of Joseph, Josef.com, the teachings of
Yes.
Joseph.com. In the last couple of minutes that I have left, I'm going to squeeze in a couple questions before Nick turns me off here and pulls me out of the studio. And one of them is, what were you hoping I would ask? You knew that we were going to do this interview for a little bit of time, so you might have thought about it, or Joseph did, or maybe you gave it no thought at all. What did you want an opportunity to talk about? What were you hoping I would ask?
Well, we always want to talk about the shift in perspective, and we have done that. We don't plan out any interviews because they always just flow, and this has been wonderful. So thank you for that. So I always depend on Joseph to give whatever is being asked for from the audience. They answer many, many questions in our conversations. So I don't really think about it. I was just excited to meet you, and I was excited to be in the vibration of this. It's wonderful.
Yeah, me too. I've been looking forward to this. As I say, I'm a fan, and I look for the Instagram messages every day and pass the word, which is what we'll do here too at the show. What's the message that Joseph wants us to be chewing on as we are rounding out the show now?
To love yourself. Self-love is when you feel authentic self-love, that is the love of your soul. And that is the most in alignment that you can be. So self-love right now, always. But this is really at the heart, I think, of so many messages because it's so important to love yourself, puts you on the pathway of alignment, self-love, because that is the creative vantage point.
I love it. Self-love is fantastic. I'm going to squeeze in another question.
Okay.
When does the new earth show up? I know a whole lot of people are drumming. It's like,
they are
I'm
drumming.
waiting. I've seen enough. We're burning up here.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
It's
It's there in its non-physical form. We are also creating it. We are creating the human collective experience of the new earth. And nobody goes to the new earth with any fear, which is why we really push to conjure a new belief system. You can't pack up anything that has any contrast at all. You can't take a fearful belief with you. You can't get through the door. There's no vibrational agreement. You must be a vibrational component, a vibrational match to the vibration you're moving into, which means expanding your awareness of who you really are. So important. It's so important. And I'll end with this about the new earth. Joseph says, if every human on the planet for 1 minute at the same time would focus on alignment, everyone would be experiencing the new earth in their unique way vibrationally for 59 seconds of it.
Wow.
Of that 1 minute.
Wow. You are an absolute delight, and Joseph is full of wisdom through you and with you.
They are.
And there's a lot of things I didn't get to ask. I'm going to have to ask for a part 2 at some point.
Love that.
Because we talk about third dimension, fourth dimension, but I didn't really get to the fifth dimension here. And besides it being a music group, and Rod Serling used to put us there in the Twilight Zone, it probably means something else. Anyway, thank you, Cindy.
Joe, thanks so much.
I've been talking to Cindy Edison, who is a conscious blended channel for a collective of teachers known as Joseph. The website is the teachings of Joseph, Josef.com, the teachings of Joseph.com. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. You've been watching or listening to Zero Limits Living. This show is so popular, you can see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms across the galaxy. Probably in the fourth dimension, soon to be in the fifth dimension, but you can go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com and binge on all the episodes. Check out miraclescoaching.com and Unexpected Kindness book, my latest book. Thanks to Lux Media Studios for making this possible, Candace Barr for giving me the show itself, Nick running the engineering department, and for all of you for being here. You're the ones bringing light to the world. You're elevating the consciousness of humanity. Thank you. I love you. Expect miracles.